Welcome to Gorilla Sports Off Court. I'm Liv Moods. That's BK. Oh, this way. That's BK. And this is presented by Trusted American Mortgage. Trusted American salary-based mortgage consultants want to help you get into a better interest rate and lower your monthly payments. So just head to trustedamerican.com to see how they can help you save some money today.
Hello and welcome in.
Please do not leave your luggage unattended on the station.
Welcome to the show.
Welcome in, everybody, to another Gorilla Sports Off Court. I'm Liv Moods. That is Brandon Cristal, and we are here to talk a little bit of Denver Nuggets here. BK, we had a post-game live show last night where I talked a little bit with the chat and the Nuggets fans about the game and the fact that the Nuggets were able to get the job done without Nikola Jokic. And I want to pick your brain a little bit. Obviously, very convincing win for this Nuggets team, if I'm not mistaken, 126-103. Nuggets over the Clippers. We still allowed Norman Powell to enter his Michael Jordan era with 30 points. I'm not sure what it is about Norman Powell. Actually, I do think I know that perimeter defense or lack thereof allows him to just shoot a lot. And we see that in all of the games that we've played against the Clippers so far this season. And the Clippers earlier in the year felt like a team that the Nuggets were struggling to battle against. They were struggling to compete against this Clippers team, which on paper made no sense. But the Clippers are competitive and they still have a lot of talent on their roster, despite maybe not being super threatening in the Western Conference. But that's neither here nor there. The Nuggets were able to get the job done last night. This was the second leg of the back-to-back, both home games, both without Nikola Jokic. Nikola Jokic battling some illness. But I had tweeted last night, BK, and would love to know your thoughts on this, that I do think it's going to be very good for this Nuggets team to have a few games at this time of the year without Nikola Jokic. We're used to Jokic being readily available, healthy. I'm knocking on wood right now as we speak, but we know that he's available quite a bit, and he's playing a lot of minutes in these games. And I think there's an aspect of that when you've got a player of his caliber that is exceptionally reliable, you do feel like he can get you out of trouble. You know, it's the same thing I say to you on this show, where every game feels winnable when you've got Nikola Jokic out there. And I think maybe the team also feels that way. So we watch them play with Jokic, and there might be some complacency we see. But in the last two games we've seen without Jokic, I've been very pleased, despite one of those being a loss, with what we've seen from the Nuggets. And I think it's going to be a good thing to have Jokic out for a few of these games so that they can find a way to win without him. What's your take on what you saw both in the Celtics game and then them getting such a convincing win without him last night?
Yeah, I'm right there with you. And I think that, they're now 2-3 in the 5 games they've played without him. They lost the silly one at New Orleans, the first one in Memphis with no Jamal Murray there either. Certainly a different Grizzlies team than we're seeing much of the year. But then bounced back and end that road trip with a win as they then came back to Denver and started just playing better basketball. And that was when Joker's wife was giving birth to their son. And so I think you're right in that every game Joker's there, you're like, no matter what, we've got this guy. So we're going to be close. We're going to have a chance, all that. At the same time, I think to your point, what's good about this stretch of games and the idea that you have to play a game without him. Yes, when you're taking on OKC and you don't have Jamal or AG, you're like, okay, everybody's got to step up. We've got the best player in the world, so we'll fit in around him. But if you can do things well like they did in spurts against the Celtics, it was a game really until
it was.
I
was there. It was a wonderful game. It really was.
And they were making threes, probably shooting more threes than they otherwise would. But in a modern NBA without Joker, that probably should become a bigger part of their offense because the drop off when Joker's not on the floor, whether it is Dario Saric, Zeke Naji, DeAndre Jordan, even Aaron Gordon playing the 5, you're not going to run the offense the same way. And so you probably do need to look to shoot more threes because you do have guys that can make them. Yeah. But just in general, kind of to your bigger point, going 48 minutes without Joker a couple nights in a row and playing tough against the defending champs, beating a team that's had your number early in the year. Obviously, they won that third one here finally as it was the extra play-in game or whatever. But it can only help you build on the good things you did. And then if you're Michael Malone, you say, hey, instead of letting off the gas pedal, and I don't think they do that, but it's probably a psychological thing. We're like, we know big fella's coming back in, so as long as we can kind of keep it close, we'll be fine. Versus, and this is something Michael Malone's talked about, let's extend the lead, or let's not just cut into it, but let's regain the lead if we're down by a couple points or a couple buckets when Joker goes to the sideline. And so you don't want to play too many games without him because he is the best player in the world.
Of course.
But if you have to go in stretches, and especially this time of year where we know it feels like the season can be a bit of a slog, then I think that it can only be a good thing to not only play well, but to, like they did last night, win on the second night of a back-to-back.
Yeah, I agree completely. And I also love when we get these comfortable and convincing wins, because I do think it gives our bench an opportunity to show that they're still very highly capable, and they have a lot of talent on their roster, and I think that's very important, because I do think depth on the bench was a massive concern for Nuggets fans everywhere at the start of the season, and it maybe still is. You know, you watch Jokic play as many minutes as he's played, and you want to get him help. You want to allow the second unit to extend the lead, and I think that the more that we can give our bench good minutes in a basketball game where they can really show what they're about, I think you grow the most when you're in the middle of the game and you have to make game time decisions. And Jalen Pickett is a great example of when we saw him in that Monday night Suns game. He came off the bench and was not only draining threes, but was also playing exceptionally well defensively. So it does show some promise in the bench and the depth that we have on the bench, which is super, super important. Jalen Pickett again last night in 4 minutes, BK, 2 of 2 from the 3-point line. So it does show that we've got some value and we've got some talent on this bench, but they're only able to really get good minutes when we extend the lead, when we have a comfortable win or a comfortable lead in any game. And so I think it's important that they keep winning convincingly. I think that's something that we need to see more from this Nuggets team, because we've seen far too many games this season where it is a little too close for comfort against teams that it probably shouldn't be, given just how talented the rosters are. Especially the roster for this Nuggets team. So one of the most important people on this team, you could argue, is Jamal Murray. And I think that we've started to see him find a little bit more momentum, a little bit of groove, a little bit of rhythm. And that's very, very important. So I think the more we see from Jamal Murray, doesn't always have to be threes. It doesn't always have to be a 30-point performance, but just make an impact. And we're starting to see him make an impact on a more consistent level. I have to tell you, on a more personal note, before we run Jamal Murray's post-game presser, which we do have, and we're going to hear from how he felt about last night's game, I just found out last night that Jamal Murray has a beautiful, adorable daughter. Was this like public knowledge and I'm just an idiot and I live under a rock?
I kind of thought the same thing, and I was like, I guess I don't really just track their personal lives that much, except for, you know, Joker's daughter we see because he picks her up all the time. And, you know, when you're at games and you're not, well, you go to plenty of games, you're not always headed back for post-game media stuff, you know, post-game press area, post-game locker room.
Right.
The hallway you walk down, though, is right next to the family room. And actually, we share a bathroom. Media members, anybody else working, shares the public restroom right outside the family room.
Yeah.
And so you see lots of people's kids, and you can certainly tell when they're wearing their parents' gear.
Yes.
But I hadn't ever noticed one way or another that Jamal has a little kiddo. And when I saw the clip last night with her, I thought, wow, okay, it's awesome. I didn't realize that. And is that going to change the way I look at him? And I guess for you, is it going to change the way you look at him, or you still be critical when needed? And I think you will, because plenty of athletes.
Yeah, kids. Like kids don't exempt you from not doing your job.
For sure.
Like that. But I will say, like, there was a part of me that's like, listen, like maybe this is being a first-time dad. You can speak to this. I cannot. That comes with some stress. That comes with some extra things to think about. So I did have a moment last night where I was like, okay, maybe some of what we've seen with Jamal, where he does seem a little not checked in and a little distracted, has to do with this beautiful baby girl that he has that I didn't even know about. So again, it won't change how I talk about his game, of course, because I like to keep it pretty honest as much as I possibly can. But I did have a moment where I said, maybe, just maybe, the new dad life for Jamal Murray created a little bit of a distraction. And I do think that is such a good reminder for someone like me who does keep it very honest and can be very critical, to remember that they're still humans and they still battle a lot of things we don't know about. And of course, a baby girl is such a blessing in so many ways, and she is adorable. I kept looking at pictures and I was like, God, she is so cute. So obviously, congratulations to Jamal. I have never publicly said congrats to him for being a dad because I didn't know that this little adorable girl existed. But it maybe does make you wonder, like, were there some of those distractions of being a first-time dad? I'm sure it
Yeah,
comes with a lot of things you have to think about and stress about.
maybe so. And Joe's throwing a bunch of comments our way in the chat. And the one thing I'll say is, if she's around, like, she's not a newborn. She wasn't born like last
No,
week.
she looks like
She's
she's like
older than
maybe
Yeah,
one-ish.
she's older than Joker's son. But still, there are young kiddos at home, and I've had several in the house over the years, between my own and a foster kiddo that we had that we got at 15 months. It's been, it just comes with a lot of real life challenges that
Of course.
even when you make $200 million, you can only allow beyond your significant other and whatever
Yeah.
family. There's only so much time that nannies and babysitters and this and that can help, but they still want to be held by their parents. They want to spend time with them. And
Of
so if you can
course.
take them to work, then great.
And
And
dad's very busy, you know?
it will bring me
So
back to what I thought. And I saw this the other day. So Joker comes off the court. I happen to be walking when he's walking by. And so most of the team's gone. He'd done the interview post game. And so you see his daughter, and you see two other kids that I assume are his nephews.
mhm.
And maybe they aren't at every game. In fact, I know they aren't at every game because his brothers sit in a suite pretty close to one side of the media seating. And so they were all there, and you could see them light up. And so I'll go back to not just his daughter watching him play or his nephews, if his son, which almost certainly will be into basketball, because we found out Joker does watch basketball a lot, thanks to Christian Brown telling us about watching stuff on League Pass and all that, that will extend his career, because he's going to want his son to not only see him play, but remember him playing. I've known so many athletes that extended their career or did their best to, because not everybody wants to play with their son like LeBron, or has that chance.
Oh, yeah. Gosh.
But just so that their kids can remember
Totally.
him, not just, there's a great picture of Ed McCaffrey, or of Christian McCaffrey after the Super Bowl, and he's 2, and he's wearing a Eddie Mac full-size jersey, and it looks like a dress, and you can see Christian's super curly blonde hair. But Christian does not remember his dad playing, because his dad played a couple more years to like 03. So Christian would have been like 5 or 6. I'm not saying he doesn't have a memory, but it's not the same as, like, Drew Brees totally admits he kept playing so his boys could really have memories of him watching. And so that'll be interesting to see. The one thing I want to shout out Jamal, and I did this morning on the Daily as well, and I feel like I can say this unequivocally. We haven't tracked the defensive player of the game chain since they've been doing it.
Yeah.
But of the starters, and KCP certainly is in there, plus now CB, with Joker, who gets it more times than you think, AG and MPJ, Jamal has to have the least amount of DPOG chains of it. And it's not always a starter, but I guess of the guys who have played the most, because certainly guys can come off the bench, and Bruce Brown and Jeff Green back in the day, a couple of years ago, Peyton Watson, whatever. There's a chance that Jamal Murray has, of guys who log real minutes, the least amount of DPOG chains. And so last night, Michael Malone gave it to him. And I think that you got to shout him out for his defensive effort, and maybe slowing down James Harden a little more than he was slowing down Norman Powell at times. But Harden only finished with 16, and Harden can still get you 30 on any given night if he wants to. And so I think it's a credit to Jamal that he did earn the DPOG chain with no Joker there to help.
Yeah, I think there's a lot that we can be excited about with Jamal as of late. I think that what we're seeing is not shocking to me. When he plays harder, you get the result that you're looking for. That's how important Jamal Murray is. He really, really is an X factor. So, BK, let's take a second. Let's listen to Jamal Murray's post-game presser from last night following such a convincing win against the Clippers and without Nikola Jokic. I've been pretty pleased with Jamal lately and his performances and his efforts. So let's check out what he had to say after last night's game.
gonna be a lot of, I don't know. It's a long season, so it's a lot of up and downs, and we just gotta weather the storms. And
Do you think that's something that people maybe underrate about how difficult an 82-game season is? It's just when you get into these moments where it is just relentless at times for both you physically and mentally.
yeah, I mean, obviously, I don't think anybody who's not in it would understand. But it's what we do, man. That's what we do. So we just gotta figure out a way to, like I said, weather the storms and come back. But I think just the intent and the focus that we're playing with. Even though we lost to Boston, it was still great energy and intent, and we just got to keep that kind of focus. We can beat anybody no matter who's out. So, like I said, on the second night of back-to-back, tonight was a good win. We'll take it.
Does it mean anything to you that you guys are 8-0 on the second night of back-to-back? Is that meaningful in any way?
For sure.
In what way?
I mean, it just shows ourselves the resiliency and what we can do. You know what I'm saying? That's not easy to do, especially when guys are out and going against a good team. So I think it's something that we can look ourselves in the mirror and be like, this is what we're capable of. This is no matter how tired, no matter how, whatever, how unprepared, whatever you guys, I don't know. We can go out and do it and win the game. So as long as we bring the right energy, we're good.
The 4 of 6 from 3 tonight, and it looks like you thought about pulling out the blue arrow. What were you thinking in that moment?
I just don't remember last time I had 2 threes in a row, so it felt good to come down and just pull it. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I've been frustrated, just missing some good looks, and it felt good to hit a couple like that.
What do you think you can take from these 2 games when you get Nikola back?
In what way? Like from ourselves?
How you're playing or anything like that?
I think we just, everybody's, with those 2 guys out, everybody's having a chance to step up and have the ball in the hand more and kind of, play their game and stuff like that. So I think just kind of carry this over for when everybody gets back, I don't think we got to overthink it. I think it's just a confidence booster when you get to, like Julian and P-Wad and even Hunter, getting more opportunity, even to make a mistake and come back from it. I think that, those moments are huge. So, like I said, all of this is just preparation for the playoffs and getting right, because we're going to need the young guys. We're going to need them. And yeah, so this is just a good confidence booster.
How's it different for you coming off a DeAndre Jordan screen versus a Nikola Jokic screen?
Well, when I'm with DJ, I'm keeping it. No, I'll get him when he's running out the rim. But it's just, I don't know, it's just a different, obviously, it's a different look I'm looking for, a different read I'm looking for. It's my Duolingo, sorry. With Jokic, it's just more reading the coverage and what they're going to do. Whereas with DJ, I'm looking to get in an area where they can't guard everybody, can't guard me or DJ or the single side guy. So just a different, I would say it's a different mindset. I'm reading 2 different things when those 2 guys are on the court.
What language are you trying to learn?
Japanese. I'm on a 93 streak of Japanese.
Isn't DJ also trying?
Yeah, we've been learning together.
Who's farther along?
He's actually taking like real classes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You guys are now 13-1 when you win the first quarter in a game. Just, I know that's kind of speaks for itself and how important it is to start really strong, but
I got you, Ryan. It's we're so good at coming back. It feels really good to be up. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's just got to be a point of emphasis. You know what I'm saying? It just doesn't have to be just the start of the game, but each quarter, just come out and be aggressive and kind of set the tone for the quarter, and everything else will follow. I think these past few games, even if we're not in the lead, it's been a good start. You know what I'm saying? Even before the last game, so just got to stay with it. Just got to kind of make that a focal point. And like I said, when we bring the energy and effort from the get-go, we're a dangerous team. So, like I said, it was good to have the lead from the start of the game to the finish.
If you want to keep your family life private, totally understand. But having your daughter at a couple games this season, what does that mean to you?
It means everything. She's getting big and a year and a half now, so she's starting to understand a lot of different things. So it's just cool to see the development and how time goes by. And soon she'll be out there, be able to, have the strength to get the ball to the hoop and stuff. And those will be fun times. So just looking forward to that.
Thanks, Jamal.
Honestly, it was. I love when he shows us a little bit of his personality, because he can be very dry in his post game. And again, that was still very dry. He didn't really have a ton of personality, but to even hear some emotion out of him that he's been frustrated with some wide open looks, not, falling like they normally do. And so to have 2 back-to-back threes was a good feeling for him. You oftentimes forget that as much as we get frustrated as fans by what we're seeing with our favorite players, they also too are very frustrated. And I do get the sense that I talked about this last night. BK, would also love to know your thoughts on this. I feel like maybe, I'm not speaking because we have this inside information. BK did not find a contact in his wonderful contact list, and get this. This is my personal assumption here. There may be a world where Jamal Murray was not super excited about Russell Westbrook being there to begin with, because he was not playing his best basketball, and Russell Westbrook was kind of seamlessly being added to this team, and again, playing in Jamal Murray's role when Jamal was out, and doing so in a very successful way. He was bringing a lot of positive things to this team. But now I'm thinking that Jamal is maybe understanding the idea around Russell Westbrook is actually here to help Jamal. I think Russell Westbrook creates a lot more scoring opportunity for Jamal. It gives Jamal a chance to not focus so much on running the offense and just being the offense, which we know he's so good at. And when you get Jamal and you get him hot, we always talk about, oh, get hot, Jamal, get hot, Jamal. I think Russ can create more opportunities for him to do that. Do you agree with that sentiment?
100%. And I just, we touched on it Monday here on off court as well. I just didn't realize how high of a basketball IQ Russ had and how much of an understanding for where everyone is supposed to be, because it was so easy to just look at the bad shots that he would miss. Because again, they weren't always crazy shots, although it felt like certainly in stretches, Russ was overly aggressive shooting the basketball. But you kind of understand why LeBron wanted him in LA now, and why the Clippers were okay trading for him. And then more so, really, why Joker was, I think, if you believe the stories out there, kind of driving the bus on the Russ train. And it also, look, I haven't looked at Chris Paul's contract this year, and I guess I could pull them both up. But both these guys have made, $300 million in their career, give or take. And so the fact that in Russ's case, he's willing to play for essentially his veteran minimum, more or less, to come in and just be a part of a championship culture and hopefully a run to a championship. He's not there to take Jamal's job. He's there to make Jamal's life easier.
Yes.
And not because he's saying, hey, just follow me. It's just by existing, just by being Russ, it will make Jamal's life easier just by playing hard all the time and having the ball in his hands and putting it in the teammate that has the best chance to succeed on a given play, putting it in their hands and facilitating that offense. Then only good things can happen. And so it probably just took, and I don't know if they're completely out of the woods yet, I guess we'll see, but it feels like the more time they've spent together and these handful of games without Joker in this stretch of the season now, as they've gotten more accustomed to each other, and with AG out, starting together and understanding what Russ is about, that it probably has freed up Jamal a little bit more. And he probably has also understood Russ's role and how that can benefit him, like you were saying.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that speaking on Russ's high IQ and why it feels like his relationship and his on-court chemistry is so seamless with Nikola Jokic, and it happens so quickly. I also noticed that in these games without Jokic, a lot of Russ's turnovers, I actually don't really fault him for. A lot of them are just maybe the team still understanding that Russ and Jokic play very similarly. When Russ has the ball in his hands, you need to look alive, because he will get it to you and it won't look like he's even paying attention to you. And he's going for those passes that we know he can complete. He does them often. He does them very well. But I think it's also, there's a little bit of grace period now that we're seeing Russ with some more starting minutes and he's getting more and more involved in facilitating this offense. The players around him have to have an understanding that he plays a lot like Jokic. Obviously, they're very different in their own ways, but they do play a very similar style of ball where you have to look alive at all times. And so some of the turnovers that we see by Russ, I actually don't think are entirely his fault. I think it's just miscommunication. Because Russ is very quick to say, that's on me, that's on me, that's on me. And sometimes he's not saying that because he's like, hey, that was a good look. You weren't paying attention, or there was just a lack of communication there. So I think the more games we see, and in these 2 games without Jokic, the team has really had to understand Russ is a lot more similar to Jokic than maybe people initially thought. And one of the things I want to credit Russ for, and I did credit him last night and a few nights ago on the same thing, is the way that he increases the pace for this Nuggets team is very valuable. We know this season, and not typically in the past, especially not when they won that championship, they used to start first halves very, very strong and very quick. And then in that third quarter, they'd kind of take their foot off the gas a little bit. And then fourth quarter, that's when Nuggets fans are sweating, like, how did we get here? Why is this game all of a sudden very close? But now we're actually seeing them have that effect in that first half. We saw a good stretch of games there where they had really slow starts to their games in the first half, and then third quarters where they really were in their prime. But I think the more starting minutes you get from Russ, the more he increases that pace. And honestly, I'm seeing it translate the most with Jamal. I feel like Jamal is getting hot faster. He's playing with effort and energy a lot quicker. And I think that's the Russ effect. I think Russ is affecting this team in a lot of positive ways, but the pace that he is keeping this Nuggets, he's holding this Nuggets to a high standard when it comes to the pace that they start these games with. And I think that's huge. I think that's very, very important. I want to ask you, BK, we've talked a lot about the stress and the concern around this Nuggets defense. Have you seen improvement in that department where you feel like if we can keep going this direction and get our team healthy and have Russ as a starter or have him be as impactful as he has been, is this a contender if they can continue to improve on their defense? Because I do think we've seen some improvements.
It feels like they certainly are, and it's probably making Michael Malone sleep a little bit more
Yeah.
because defenses, as we'll just continue to point out, and I think the folks that watch us all the time and watch basketball understand how much effort and communication matter. Not just effort, but also communication, because you can play hard and still get beaten if you're not assignment sound. And so the fact that they've been able to turn it on late and lately and stick with the Celtics. I get that ultimately the Celtics ended up, 113, 150, whatever that final score was. But to hold really any NBA team, but the Clippers, who certainly have scored plenty on you, to just 103, you'll take that. If you can keep teams around 100 or less in the modern NBA with all the three-point shooting, then you're doing something well. And I think some of it is with that communication. It's as Michael Malone has mixed and matched these lineups, guys understanding everyone's rotations and what people do well and where you need to maybe pick up the slack or whatever it may be. And so I think that all factors in, and that's why it's encouraging. You'd like to see it sustained now. This is a tough stretch, as Malone's pointed out. Now, when they go to Dallas, a couple times here, Sunday and Tuesday, no Kyrie. And we know Luka's been banged up at times, but we know Kyrie's going to be out because of what he's dealing with. And so, because they said 1 to 2 weeks, and that was a day or two ago. So you won't see Kyrie, but you know that defense travels. You're going to shoot better at home most times. That's just a age-old basketball thing. You're in that building more, whether it's a high school gym or college, or certainly in the NBA. You're going to play 41 games in your building, and obviously just a handful in every other building, or maybe one, depending on East Coast or West Coast, whatever conference you're in. But defense travels, and that's true in every sport, whether that's football, whether that's hockey, whether that's, and in this case, basketball, even baseball. Good pitching, good defense will work in every ballpark. And so I think that, I'm certainly encouraged by what I've seen defensively, and I think Michael Malone is, and that should not only calm Nuggets fans' nerves, but also remind the rest of the league that they're already extremely efficient offensively. They're the best passing team in the league. No, they don't shoot threes to the level everyone else does, but they get easy buckets because Nikola Jokic is a supercomputer cheat code that now has another one of those with Russell Westbrook, whether he's on the court with them or not. And I think those guys also realizing that when Joker's not on the court, but Russ is, he also sees the game the same way. No, he's not going to line up or play from inside out the way Joker often does, but that he's going to get the ball to the guy in the best position to score. So I think that we're seeing it all start to come together, and we're reminded it's only the first week of January. And if things can stay on this course, and if everyone can stay healthy, that it's going to make for a much more fun April, May, and hopefully June.
I agree. I think the month of January is very, very important for many reasons, but you know, it's just that time of the year where you start to figure out who the contenders and the pretenders are, right? That's where we start to establish the identity of these teams. You know, we've seen a lot of great flashes by the Denver Nuggets and things that we really like and things that they've done very well. And then we've seen a lot of concerning things as well with this Denver Nuggets team this season. So this is a really important month for them to solidify their identity and prove that they are who we think they are, which is a contender. I truly believe this is a Nuggets team that could make a deep run in the playoffs. I have not lost hope at all, despite the very, very rocky, shaky start to their season. But we also know the value of getting momentum at the right time. So if they can really buckle down and solidify their identity in the month of January and then just put their heads down and stay focused, I really, really believe that this team can make some noise. So before we get out of here, our friends over at Landmark Lincoln, check them out. You can go to them and see them on the corner of Bellevue and Broadway to find out why they have been Colorado's #1 Lincoln trusted dealer since 1911. Very, very long time to be #1. So they're obviously doing something right over there. You can head to landmarklincoln.com, figure out what incentives you qualify for, check out their new rides. They have a new hybrid vehicle that is super cool. BK's already mentioned he is looking for that hybrid maybe some point soon. He's
Hybrid or full-blown electric.
He's gonna make
ready
the
to make that
switch.
jump, but
Yeah, so
not
make sure
happening,
you guys.
not happening today, that's for sure.
Yeah, not today, but maybe
Soon, and when I do, I'll head over to Landmark Lincoln.
There you
and
go.
when I need to refinance again or buy a new property, I'm going to go to trustedamerican.com. Check out our friends at Trusted American Mortgage. I got to point this way.
Yeah, that's right. We do have this has been another Guerrilla Sports Off Court. I'm Liv Moods. That's Brandon Crystal, and this has been presented by Trusted.
No, you'll have postgame live tomorrow.
That's right. The Nuggets do play again tomorrow, and I will have a post-game live show for you guys to keep you guys in the loop on all things. Hopefully, like I said, the month of January, very important. 17 games, 8 at home, 9 on the road. This is going to be a really important month for this team to solidify who they are, and we will do a post-game live show with myself tomorrow night, talking all things Denver Nuggets per usual. Yeah, this has been another Guerrilla Sports Off Court. I'm Liv Moods. That's BK. Presented by Trusted American Mortgage. Head to trustedamerican.com, see how they can help you save some money. And we will see you guys tomorrow for some more Denver Nuggets conversations. So make sure you're tuning in. Follow Guerrilla Sports on all things socials. Subscribe to our YouTube so you don't miss anything. And we will catch you for some more Nuggets talk tomorrow night.